Hare Krishna. I am Radhika Pyari Devidasi, and this is the continuation of the Mahabharat series retold by Krishna Dharma Prabhu. Part 2, Chapter 23 Karna in Command. In Duryodhana's tent, the monarchs and warriors sat in silence, gazing at Drona's empty seat. Duryodhana himself was overcome by grief. He drew long breaths and stared at the ground. Some of his friends comforted him, citing Vedic verses about the eternality of the soul and the temporality of all things material. They also consoled Kripa, who was lamenting the death of his beloved friend and brother-in-law. Ashwathama had gone to his tent, wanting to be alone. After a while, the kings departed, leaving Duryodhana alone with Karna and Shakuni and his brothers. They said little and sat remembering the miseries they had inflicted on the Pandavas, feeling deep regret. As the evening wore on, they lay down on costly couches. Tossing in anxiety, they could not rest. The night dragged on. Duryodhana thought again of the Danavas. It seemed they had kept their promise to assist him. Drona had fought demonically, but still he had been brought down. What power did the Pandavas have on their side? Could nothing stop them? As the sun at last approached the eastern sky, the Kauravas rose listlessly and went about their morning rituals. Coming together again with the other monarchs, they decided to install Karna as their commander. The installation ceremony was performed, and after giving charity to the Brahmins, they moved towards the battlefield for the 16th day. Praised and blessed by the Brahmins, the Kuru army marched out, determined to avenge Drona. Karna rode at their head, clad in brilliant armor and shining like his celestial father on his resplendent chariot. As he left for the battle, Karna cheered the Kauravas with his roars and shouts, while bards and poets sang his glories. By his side rode Duryodhana, his remaining brothers behind him. They were flanked by Ashwathama, Kripa, Kritavarma, and Shalya. Other powerful kings followed those heroes, leading their armies and forming them into an array shaped like a bird. All the warriors then put aside their previous reverses. Hoping for victory, they charged into battle with loud cries. Seeing their foes approaching in a heroic mood, the Pandavas arranged their troops into a half-moon formation. The two armies converged, yelling out war cries and blowing their conches. Of the original 6 million warriors, less than 1 million remained. They all knew that the war would be over only when all of them were slain. Duryodhana would fight to the last, and the Pandavas would not relinquish their claim to their kingdom. There were still invincible heroes on both sides who stood unflinching in battle. Thus it was certain the two armies would be annihilated, leaving the great heroes on either side to contend for the final victory. Karna, fired by his position as the Kaurava commander-in-chief, began to slaughter the remaining Pandava forces. As he released his oil-soaked arrows in all directions, he seemed to his enemies to be like the blazing sun with its fierce rays. Indiscriminate about whom he attacked, he felled soldiers, horsemen, elephants, and chariot fighters alike. Bhima, Nakula, and Satyaki rushed to check his progress. They rained weapons upon him and gradually forced him back. Other Kauravas came to Karna's assistance, and a fierce battle ensued between the heroes of both sides. A terrible encounter took place between Bhima and Ashwathama, which even the celestials watched with wonder. Finally, Bhima overpowered Ashwathama, who was carried unconscious from the battlefield. Bhima was also wounded. He collapsed, exhausted, and was similarly borne away by his charioteer. Karna, fighting his way free from his antagonist, carried again into the Pandava army. With innumerable arrows, he crushed the troops, cutting through their ranks like fire through a dry forest. Pursued by a number of Pandava heroes, he ranged about causing carnage among their forces. On another part of the field, Arjuna fought without mercy. Charging against the remaining Narayanas and the few surviving Shamshaptakas, he ruthlessly cut them down with his unfailing shafts. The Kaurava forces under Arjuna's attack appeared like the ocean tossed by a raging storm. Longing for his chance to encounter Karna for their final fight, he wasted no time in slaying his unretreating foes. Karna, as he slaughtered the Panchala and the Somaka warriors, was caught and challenged by Nakula. That fearless Pandava warrior hurled a number of deadly darts at Karna, who responded by cutting them to pieces with swift arrows. He shot blazing shafts at Nakula, who in turn cut them down with his own. After fighting intensely for some time, the two men stood back and glared at each other. Nakula called out, "By good fortune have I had this opportunity to fight you today. You are the root of all the misery we have suffered, and you are also to blame for this great war. By your fault, so many great warriors now lie slain, and the world is filled with widows and orphans. Take the consequences of your wickedness, O wretch. I am here to punish you." Karna sneered. "O brave one, first strike me and then speak. Only after achieving great feats in battle do heroes utter bold words. Let us see your prowess. I will surely destroy your vanity." Both warriors immediately pierced each other with winged arrows fired at blinding speed. They roared and circled one another. Both released countless arrows that the other countered. As they invoked celestial weapons, the sky was filled with shafts casting a dark shadow over the battlefield. Gradually, Karna gained the upper hand. He slew Nakula's charioteer and 4 horses. Nakula took up a sword and shield, but Karna quickly cut them to pieces. The Pandava then grasped his spiked mace and jumped down. Karna broke the mace with straight flying shots. Laughing, he rode over to his disarmed foe and struck him with his bow. Nakula burned with shame and grief as Karna rebuked him. "O child, go to your elder brothers. You should not wage war with the powerful. Your strength lies only in words." Karna, remembering again his promise to Kunti, did not attempt to kill Nakula, who then ran to Yudhishthira in humiliation. Climbing aboard his brother's chariot, he shed hot tears of anger and sighed heavily. He thought of Arjuna and Krishna. Soon the cruel-minded Karna would meet his end. He could display his power only for as long as the two great souls did not charge at him in anger. Karna continued to assail the Pandava forces, circling around the field with his bow, constantly sending forth flaming shafts. He appeared like a wheel of fire. He came against the Srinjayas and slaughtered them by the tens of thousands. As Karna annihilated his foes, other battles took place. Kripa contended with Drishtadyumna, Kritavarma with Satyaki, and Bhima battled Dhritarashtra's sons and slew another 20. Yudhishthira met Shalya, and numerous other powerful heroes came together in a furious trial of arms. The celestials were awed by the encounters. Arjuna single-handedly destroyed the Narayana enemy, even though he was simultaneously surrounded by many powerful Ratha and Maharathas warriors. With crescent-tipped shafts, he beheaded his foes and lopped off their limbs. Ranging about freely, he crushed the Kauravas with an endless stream of arrows from the Gandiva. As the sun reached the western horizon, the battlefield presented a gruesome scene. Half of the warriors who had gone out to fight lay dead. The earth was strewn with carcasses and the wreckage of chariots and armors. Bodies lay burned beyond all recognition. Flocks of vultures circled the field and jackals bayed. Seeing darkness enveloping the combatants, Karna ordered the Kaurava army to withdraw. He did not want another night battle. The soldiers pulled away from each other, praising their enemies' prowess, and headed back to their camps. Duryodhana sat in his tent, sighing and squeezing his hands. Of his 11 Akshauhini divisions, only one remained. It was almost inconceivable. So many supposedly invincible heroes had been slain. Warriors who had never before tasted defeat now lay embracing the earth like men clasping their lovers. Most of the damage had been done by Arjuna and Bhima. How much longer could it go on? Those two haughty Pandavas had to be killed. He would take care of Bhima, but why had Karna not yet killed Arjuna? Duryodhana looked at his friend. Understanding Duryodhana's mind, Karna said, Arjuna is always alert, persevering, skillful, and intelligent. Even when an opportunity arises to overpower him, Krishna intervenes and saves him. Still, I will not be thwarted. Today he evaded me by various kinds of deceit, but tomorrow I will battle all his attempts and slay him for sure. Duryodhana was heartened by Karna's confidence. So be it. He dismissed the assembly and told everyone to meet at dawn to decide their strategy for killing Arjuna. The next morning, Karna came alone to Duryodhana. The Kaurava chief waved him to a fine seat as his attendants put on his armor. Tying on his leather finger guards, he said, Well, dear friend, are you ready to face Arjuna? Karna replied somberly, Today I will fight an unforgettable battle with that famous hero. Either I will slay him or be slain by him. If I cannot kill him today, I will not return from the field. Even though I have been deprived of my Shakti weapon, I do not consider myself his inferior. I have received powerful celestial weapons from Parshurama and can match Arjuna in speed and lightness of hand. Today you will see me contend with Arjuna even as Indra fought with the Daityas. This whole earth, with its thorns removed, will soon be yours. There is no deed I cannot perform for you, O king, nor is there any man who can withstand me when I am angry. But I need something from you. Karna explained how the one area where Arjuna was superior was that he had Krishna as his charioteer. Krishna guides his chariot with superb skill. I need one who can match Krishna's ability at driving a chariot. I can only think of Shalya for this task. Duryodhana looked up sharply. Shalya was one of the most powerful heroes still remaining among the Kauravas. It would be a shame to lose him. Neither would he take kindly to being asked to perform the lowly job of a charioteer, especially for Karna. Shalya was the Pandavas' relative. Could he be trusted? Seeing Duryodhana's doubtful expression, Karna said, Assisted by Shalya, I see myself emerging victorious. He is famed throughout the world for his skill at handling chariots. There are none better than he at assessing the strengths and weaknesses of the enemy. He has pledged himself to your cause, O king, because you satisfied him. As a man of unfailing virtue, he will do everything in his power to help me. Therefore, go to him and convince him to become my driver. Duryodhana looked thoughtful. This was perhaps his only chance to win the war. Without overcoming Arjuna, the defeat was certain. He nodded. I will convince the Madras monarch to accept the office of charioteer. Numerous chariots will be placed at your disposal, each equipped with every weapon. I will also make available hundreds of cartloads of arrows. Duryodhana knew that the battle with Arjuna would require a vast number of shafts to match his inexhaustible supply. He issued orders to his servants, then got up and left the tent. Seeing Shalya in his tent, he approached him in a servile mood. O mighty hero, best of men, O you of invincible prowess, I come with a humble request. Karna has asked that you become his charioteer for today's fight with Arjuna. There is no other who can match your abilities in driving chariots. Indeed, you are Krishna's equal. O best of chariot warriors, I therefore beg your assistance. Out of the affection you bear me, kindly accept this post. Duryodhana continued to praise Shalya's abilities, assuring him that there was no other warrior in the world who could ensure by expert chariot driving that Karna overcame Arjuna. The whole army was depending on him. If Arjuna was not checked soon, the Kauravas would shortly be annihilated. Shalya looked at Duryodhana in horror. He stood up suddenly and paced the floor of his tent. O son of Gandhari, you offend me with such a request? How do you reckon me to be less than Karna? Are you suspecting my loyalty and endeavor in the battle? I am capable of performing any feat that the Suta's son can do. Allot to me as my share any heroes you choose. After slaying them all, I will return to my own kingdom. If you wish me to fight alone against the Pandavas, I'll do so. But this request is an insult. I should leave this war at once, having heard such words from you. But I will not abandon my duty out of passion or anger. Shalya was furious. As a Kshatriya, it was his duty to fight and not to drive chariots. Driving chariots was a duty of a Shudras. It was ordained in scriptures that Shudras should serve Kshatriyas, but never vice versa. Karna hailed from a family of Shudras, and he, Shalya, was the crowned monarch of a great country. Shalya glared at Duryodhana. I do not know how can I continue fighting for you now. After receiving this insult, I feel more like returning home. Shalya stormed out of his tent and Duryodhana ran after him. The prince stopped him and reached down to touch his feet. Please, please do not misunderstand me and take offense. I did not in any way mean to infer that you are less than Karna, nor do I doubt your sincerity, nor indeed do I desire the king of Madras to degrade himself by performing some inferior duty. There is no question of any of these, O Lord of the earth. I see you as being in every way Karna's equal and more. Please let me explain my intentions. Duryodhana told Shalya that among all the warriors on the field, no one could equal Krishna. He was far superior to all, yet he had accepted the role of Arjuna's charioteer. It was for this reason that Duryodhana had thought of Shalya, who was like a second Vasudev. Karna could contend equally with Arjuna in a trial of arms, but he needed a charioteer comparable to Krishna. The prince said that both he and Karna could not think of anyone better than Shalya. Hearing Duryodhana praise Krishna, the Madras monarch was pacified. Like his nephews, the Pandavas, he loved Krishna. He remembered his promise to Yudhishthira. It had surely been ordained by fate that he should drive Karna's chariot for this battle. Making up his mind, Shalya said, Your glorification of Devki's sons has softened my heart. I will consider taking this role, but only on one condition. I must be allowed to speak whatever I please in Karna's presence. Duryodhana breathed a sigh of relief. So be it. Let us go to Karna. Further encouraging Shalya, Duryodhana recited an old history of how Mahadev had once fought with the Danavas and Daityas. At that time, Brahma had served as his charioteer. There was no shame in a powerful hero taking the position when the need arose. When they reached Karna's tent, Duryodhana said, See, here this mighty hero, O monarch. Can it be that he is born of a Suta? In my view, he is the offspring of some great deity. Surely he was begotten in a race of Kshatriyas and abandoned at birth. Look at his immense chest and his arms like tree trunks. See his handsome face, his regal stature and bearing. He resembles the sun in splendor. I cannot accept that he was born of a Suta woman. Shalya greeted Karna and said, I will become your charioteer for the great battle. However, I am doubtful about the outcome. Even if by some chance you manage to slay Arjuna, you will then see Keshava enter the fight, weapons in hand. Shalya turned to Duryodhana. Without doubt, Krishna will annihilate your race with all its allies and followers. What then will be the use of killing Arjuna? Duryodhana seemed unconcerned. O king, I am not afraid of Krishna when I have both Karna and you on my side. How will Keshava overcome you in battle? Karna will surely slay Arjuna. Then you and he will be more than a match for Krishna, even if he is supported by his followers. And if Karna should be slain, then we will depend on you alone. Shalya looked at Karna, who was carefully tying his armor. It was probably the last time he would ever do that. The king of Madras thought, So be it, O Bharata ruler. I will drive Karna's chariot. Karna thanked Shalya and they both embraced Duryodhana. Then they left the tent together to meet with the other warriors. After agreeing on a strategy, the Kauravas mounted the chariots and horses, roared and blew the conch shell, and Shalya took up the reins of Karna's great chariot and drove it out at the head of the army. 10,000 drums and as many trumpets sounded as the Kaurava forces moved off for battle. As they went towards the battlefield, Karna said, Take me at once to the place where the Pandavas stand. If necessary, I will fight with all 5 brothers. Drive the horses quickly, O great hero. so that I may kill Arjuna, Bhima, Yudhishthira, and the twins. Today the world will witness my incomparable prowess. Shalya laughed. Oh, son of charioteer, why do you make light of the Pandavas? Those five heroes are unconquerable and have Krishna as guide and protector. O Karna, when you see them creating a canopy in the sky with innumerable shafts, you will not speak such words. When you hear the twang of the Gandiva, you will surely regret your proud utterances. Karna, ignoring Shalya, exclaimed, Drive on! And his chariot thundered forward towards the Pandavas. As the two armies closed, dreadful portents were seen. Cloudlets thunder resounded from the sky, and a shower of stones fell. Fierce winds blew in the Kauravas' faces. On their right, they saw herds of animals moving past them, and jackals howled. Their horses shed tears, and their standards trembled. Paying no heed to the omens, the Kauravas rushed into the fight, driven by destiny. Seeing Karna blazing like a brilliant fire at their head, they felt victory to be theirs. They shouted out their war cries and waved their weapons in the air as they charged into the battle. Karna called out to the soldiers, Any man who will show me the whereabouts of Arjuna will be richly rewarded. I will give gold, gems, and fine horses to he who points out the Pandava. Show me where Arjuna and Krishna are fighting, and I will award you whatever wealth they leave after I slay them. Hearing those words, Duryodhana cheered his friend. Cymbals clashed and thousands of drums were beaten. Shalya laughed again. Oh, Suta's son, you are foolishly offering your wealth in charity as if you are a kuvera. Do not worry, you will find Arjuna easily. There is no need to give away your riches, especially to unworthy persons. Soon enough, you will find him yourself. Your bragging is of no use. Never have I seen a fox overthrow a couple of lions. You are unable to see what should be done and what should not be done. And that is why it is obvious to me that your life is at its end. O Karna, it appears that you have no real friends to prevent you from hurling yourself into the fire. As your friend, I advise you to approach Arjuna with caution, backed by a large division of men. Do not rush against him alone, like a man trying to cross the ocean with only his two arms and a stone tied around his neck. Karna scowled at Shalya. You are an enemy in the guise of a friend, he barked. I have no fear of Arjuna. Depending only on the strength of my arms, I will meet and overpower him. No man will shake me from this determination. Shalya again spoke derisively. When keen-edged, kanka-feathered arrows strike you all over, you will repent your vanity. Like a child on his mother's lap seeking to catch the sun, you wish to defeat Savyasachin? You are challenging Arjuna like a young deer challenging an angry lion. Do not. Out of folly, strike a black cobra with your bare hand. Do not shout at Arjuna like a frog croaking at a great cloud pouring showers of rain. As a jackal living among hares considers himself powerful until he meets a tiger, so you roar out your own praises until you encounter Arjuna and Krishna. Say whatever you will, soon your mountain of pride will be broken by Arjuna's thunderbolt like shafts. Karna's breath came in short, heavy rasps. He burned under Shalya's tirade. Although the Madras monarch had come to Duryodhana's side, it seemed his actual allegiance lay with the Pandavas. Tightly clutching his bow, Karna responded harshly. O king, only the meritorious can recognize the merits of others. Being bereft of all merits, you cannot see what is good and what is bad. I am fully aware of Arjuna's prowess, and I know my own power as well. Thus I have challenged the Pandavas, knowing full well my ability to defeat him. His Gandiva, his ape banner, and his charioteer Krishna may strike terror into the timid, but for me, they are sources of joy. Today you will see me strike down both Arjuna and Krishna with a single shaft. They will look like two pearls on a string. Today everyone will see my birth, nobility, and power. Do not mock me, O foolish one. Losing his temper, Karna rounded out Shalya, his angry voice booming out as his chariot moved across the field. You are a wicked-minded and of a bad character. Because you are afraid, you praise the enemy. Or perhaps you praise them for some other reason. Whether it is after killing my foes, I will also kill you and all your relatives. Born in a sinful land, you are a mean wretch among the Kshatriyas. Do not try to frighten me with your empty words. I could slay 1,000 Krishnas and hundreds of Arjunas. Hold your tongue, O you born in a sinful country. Karna continued to insult Shalya. He described Madras as a country populated by low class and degraded people. Citing many popular sayings spoken by the Madraka's enemies, he abused Shalya and his homeland. He was not surprised that the Pandavas' uncle should have spoken to discourage him, but he was not prepared to tolerate it. Raising his mace, he said, O King of Madras, if you speak again in such strains, I will crush your skull. Only out of regard for Duryodhana have I not done so already. Drive on towards Arjuna. Either the world will hear that I have slain Dhananjaya and Vasudev, or they will hear that the brave Karna was killed by them. Unruffled, Shalya reminded Karna of Arjuna's feats of valor, including the occasion when he had overpowered all the Kurus, including Karna. Karna snorted. I will not be affected by your words, O man of evil intent. You cannot inspire me with fear. My only fear is the curse of the Brahmins. Karna knew he faced great peril due to a long past mistake he had once committed. Realizing that it may well prove his undoing, he told Shalya how he had accidentally slain a Brahmin's cow when out hunting many years ago. The Brahmin had cursed him, saying, when you face deadliest enemy, the earth will swallow your chariot wheel. You will then become afraid. After describing the incident, Karna said, still, I will not turn back. Accepting the Brahmin's curse, I will stand against Arjuna and cut him down with my arrows. Even the angry words of my own preceptor will not stop me today. Karna was thinking of Parshurama's curse. He would forget the mantras for the Brahmastra at the time when he needed it most. Careless of both imprecations, Karna commanded Shalya to drive on. Everything lay in destiny's hands. Victory or defeat were never certain for anyone. If fate decreed it, then despite impediments, he would emerge victorious. If not, then despite his greatest endeavor and superior skills, he would lose the fight. Karna and Shalya continued to trade insults as they approached the battlefield. Duryodhana heard their raised voices and went up to them, beseeching Shalya with folded palms not to discourage Karna, and asking Karna to forgive him. Both men fell silent and sped on across the field, seeing the Pandava forces looming large in the distance. Thus ends the 23rd chapter, part 2 of the Mahabharat series, Karna in Command. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.